And we are live. Welcome to Tracking the Tropics
Very
for
excited.
August 19th, 2020. This is Isaac Schaff along with Jonathan and JD, Stormwatch Media and PlanetStar. I'm going to pull up the latest satellite of 98L and go ahead and give us your thoughts, Jonathan. I'm going to pull up the overall satellite.
Let me go over here and put up the hurricane center stuff. Then I come over to the model.
Okay.
I'll show you the GFS here. It's in plane disturbance that has a 90% chance, and that'll be 98L here. That'll be 98L. Let's talk about that. That has a 90% chance of developing within 12 to 24, 36, 48 hours, and then also 5 days from now has a 90% chance to develop it. So anywhere from now until Saturday, we'll have to watch this particular storm. And if we look at it, he has the satellites up. But on this satellite, this is just a visible satellite from the Hurricane Center. You can see it's starting to take that tropical shape, starting to get its act together, starting to get its spin, starting to get all of that together here. So that's what we're going to focus on with 97L. Are we even live? Because this thing didn't tell me that we're live.
We are live.
Okay. But that's what we have here. And then back here toward the west of that. Now, at first, we were thinking these would be closer proximity to each other. Yesterday, they were only 10 degrees of longitude off. Today, they're about 20 degrees of latitude off from each other. The longitude of them is, let me look. Let me see. They're about in between 5 and 16 north. So they're very close to each other. Now the spaghetti plots takes this one up into the Gulf of Mexico and takes this one closer to through Florida, closer to Florida. Takes the one that has a better chance of developing. And if it does go close to Florida, that is when you get it's going to be over water longer. So guess what? We could get a possible hurricane to develop out of that. And the intensity guidance also shows that. Now this one here, it still has a great chance of developing, but as of now, it is a likely chance of developing 5 days from now. Even a day, it's a likely chance, or medium to likely chance. So we're going to watch that here as we go, Isaac.
Okay, and we're going to pull up that satellite again, just see how things are going. There's Genevieve as it nears the Baja coast. We can tell that looks like the eye will likely trail off the Baja coast. Looks like we got tropical storm and hurricane warnings. I believe that's what they are. I believe we'll go ahead and check in at the Eastern Pacific just to see how things are going. Obviously, hurricane. We got hurricane warnings for the southern tip of the Baja. Tropical storm warnings.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check. Yeah, let's go ahead and check Genevieve real quick. I see you pop me up by myself, so I guess you want me to talk about her. Let me come in to the Eastern Pacific, and let me show you Genevieve. What you say?
I'll read number 2.
What did you say, JD?
I'll read number 2.
We don't have to read anything word for word. We're just trying to.
Okay.
We're just trying to just provide a quick update because obviously we don't have many followers out in the Baja. However, however, this is still a major storm across this area, and by the look of it here on satellite, looks like we still have it is still very healthy and well-defined circulation on there.
Yeah,
and I think that looks like the hurricane force winds may extend a little bit further from the center there, so it is likely the southern tip of Baja will likely see onset of hurricane force conditions within the next 24 hours, a little bit less than that now. And obviously here is 97L, this is 98L, 99L is further west, or actually W. This is this is 97 here. It is now pushing between the Dominican Republic, Jamaica down towards Colombia there, and this is going to be tracking through the, yeah, it is looking like it is, there's not, yeah, it's moving a bit slower than it has been. I will say that. And there's the circulation doesn't appear to be well defined. We're still disorganized around here. But yeah, convection continues to develop around here. So, I mean, if we do get a good enough high pressure around this area, we'll likely have clearance for this track. And I'm pretty sure with what we have going on here, this may cause this system to track elsewhere. It just depends. This activity going around right here. And the circulation around 98L, as we pointed out earlier, it's getting a little bit more defined. And I will zoom out just to give you guys a closer look. We can see that. So just a broad area of circulation. However, still it's a little bit more disorganized around here in terms of mid and upper level moisture kind of circulating and whatnot. And yeah, just the overall look at satellite. Obviously, we have a lot of advection going on across the southeast. Some showers and storms occurring, and what I'm looking really closely at is obviously this little trough, this troughing that's in place across the south parts of the country. And what that will likely lead to is maybe if this dips a little bit further south, this system may have the more of the high pressure clearance to track up a little bit further north. And obviously this still has a modest chance of developing within 48 hours, I will say. And I'm going to pull up I'm going to go back to 97L because obviously this may cause U.S. impacts maybe a bit before 98L. And here's the model track guidance. We can tell that just depending on how far that trough kind of dips down, maybe bring a variety of different tracks. One possibly brings it towards Florida. A couple others bring it to closer to Louisiana or the central and western Gulf Coast. You can see how these are not packed together. So, I mean, I believe, upper level conditions will likely impact the surface where the strongest surface low will track associated with this. And that is unlike 98L, which I will show you that track.
Is that stronger?
Kind of compare that. We can see that, or I'm just comparing both of the systems here.
Okay.
The consensus will be between 126 and 144 with these models in terms of onset times. Kind of the same around here, but this is a bit later on 98L. And we can see how these, they're still spread out further off. I mean, looks like the rate of westward motion is persisting for quite a bit. Yeah, we're at 24. Oh yeah, this couple of the models kind of have it slowing up and making a track a little bit further north initially, but it is likely that this will be near the Windward Islands, the Windward Islands, a little bit over 48 hours from now, probably 48 to 96, 72 hours. Will be near Puerto Rico, and obviously the Dominican Republic and Cuba into parts of Florida, perhaps within 144 to 168 hours. And I think the range with that, I mean, this will likely impact first, this disturbance, as opposed to this one. and the UKXI and this ANVI kind of have it tracking closer proximity to each other, but this model it moves a bit slower, and then the westward motion persists as opposed to this one right here. I just am making some inferences or what comes to my mind, but again, we don't know exactly the track. We're just inferring off of what is possible given what the projections are, the rate of westward motion, and if something causes us to curve even further north.
That's exactly right. And this is just one of many computer models. This is GFS here. And again, take it with a grain of salt. This is the third day that's changed again that we've been tracking this particular, that we've been tracking the inverse. And every day when we would track the inverse, we would get something different, something changing. You can see here, pay attention to these pressure lines. You see 1012 up there in Georgia, but the lower pressure will be down here into the Gulf where you have 1010, and the lower the pressure, look at that, there's a 576 lower pressure coming up here. So that'll be where the system will be, and it all depends on where that system would particularly go for us here, and that we'll be watching it. There you can see all the rain and thunderstorm activity. That'll be moving, continue to move itself, but this keeps it toward from about from Louisiana over to Florida now, and no Texas impacts. It could make a landfall here, and that'll be Monday the 24th near Louisiana, somewhere along the coast of Louisiana. And then we have the second one that we're gonna have to watch, and here it is here on the 25th up near Florida, and that continues on toward the north. And then we get this. You see that little circle that pops up near Pensacola? That's what you have to watch here. That's something we're going to have to watch as we do go here. And then more rain and thunderstorm activity continues to move itself toward the north, and then maybe another low pressure system, the one off the coast of Africa, could make its way toward the Gulf again. It's amazing because this model is so, the model goes out that far that we can see what could possibly happen in the Atlantic or the Gulf.
Doesn't mean it will.
That doesn't. Exactly. Let's check the comments here. Hold on. Oh, somebody just said, "Hey, hello, hello, Austin Seaton." Anyway, we are going to continue to watch these systems here. Isaac, you're still up full screen.
Yeah, sure. You want the satellite on full screen? All right. So yeah, we had a comment about the solar storm here. I will kind of provide some clarity on that. So obviously a CME, there is, it's projected that somewhere, I believe, into late week into Tuesday, if I'm correct. What this is that there is a wave of energy that comes from the sun. So I mean, there's the sun's rays are shooting towards the Earth, in particular the northern latitudes, and obviously that will impact. There's going to be some northern lights. So I mean, a lot of the sun's rays, it's in the upper stratosphere. So what happens there is that before the air density kind of increases with altitude as you get closer to the ground. But in the stratosphere, the sun's rays are kind of trapped, and it'll lead to some northern lights, and they may be visible as far south as, like, I don't know, 50 to 40 degrees north latitude. I mean, I would have to consult our solar and seismology reference, but I mean, that's just from what I know. And there may be a stronger solar storm event that may occur, closer to the North Pole. And I mean, that's because, since the atmosphere has the tilt, the northern hemisphere, we are closer to the sun during the summer. We are still in the summertime. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the northern latitudes are getting the most of that. And I
why
will
the
also emphasize that if more of the sun's rays are coming towards the stratosphere, they may bleed into the atmosphere. They can cause
Mhm.
radio signals, very high frequencies. There could be some static with that. I mean,
and there can
generally,
be
and there can and it can also, like, if it gets to the point where it's very strong and it bleeds in, to the ground, very intense. I mean, it can lead to issues with the electrical grid in some vulnerable spots. I mean, there and just because the sun's rays from the CME, they're not they're not still flared as it gets into the atmosphere, because when there's more oxygen, there's no obviously it won't, obviously there's no danger to any human life at the ground. It's just that some radio signals could be interfered with. It's not, again, this is probably not going to be the case here in the United States, but again, further aloft into the stratosphere, that's where you might notice a lot of the impacts from a solar storm with the northern lights. And generally, that's just for those interested in this kind of stuff. I know that it's just another thing that's worth discussion, but yeah, Jonathan, is there anything else you'd like to add about, overall weather headlines? Just anything out of interest?
Well, we're focusing on this, and I see what we're gonna pop this up.
Austin made another
He's
question
running.
again.
He said he's
Yeah,
running the H. Let
HR
me see. Can
model
we
on
pop this?
low.
triple R. Yeah, I think there's
Okay,
a
he says I'm
variance
running an
in
H.
pressure. There's a variance in pressure on the model. I mean, if it's trending upward or down, or wait a minute, that might not be associated with the tropics, but I mean, I believe we're
May
going to see
not.
another weak storm system over the coming days. That will, and I'm going to pull up that satellite data again just to clarify. Yeah, we can see that we have this wave from the Pacific that will kind of trench down into the Midwest as well. The Great Lakes obviously seeing some mid and high level clouds dominating that area, and obviously we will see an increase in cloud cover heading into late tonight into parts of tomorrow locally, and I would infer that there will be a limited rain chance, or I'm just making a basis based off of we're likely going to be clear throughout the day tomorrow. Maybe just some minor cloud cover issues. It's nothing too much to be worried about. Yeah, it looks like we'll be mostly void of any low-level clouds and precip. This is just high-level clouds that'll push through tonight. Obviously, no precipitation expected locally. So, I mean, if we're talking about the HRRR, that's obviously a short-term deal. I mean,
It is.
yeah. So,
Okay. Let's see. We're gonna run. Let's look at this real quick. We, in terms of models we're using to track the tropics, you have the GFS long range. You have the GEM, which we used the day before yesterday on the show. Then you have another one of the Euro models, or you can just use the ensembles. where they show we get multiple different computer models that just shows where they go. So in terms of that, the HRR isn't one of those longer ranger models. What you use the HRR for is usually, or HRR RPM models are usually for, you usually use those for um, your normal weather forecast when you track these particular, or when you just get normal thunderstorm activity. That's
Yes.
when you use that. Now, in terms of when it comes down to the tropical weather, what this show is about, and you use the
Yeah.
HRR, they are no way related to each other. When you use the
Yeah.
HRR for this, they're not related. So you can't use the HRR for when it comes down to tropical weather unless it's in a shorter range, okay? In shorter range of time. From now until next week, when these are supposed to hit, we can't really tell you when they're going to hit or how they're going to
Yeah.
hit. That's all.
It may
That's
not.
all. That's
It
all
may
I'm
not
saying.
even happen.
Yeah, true. It may not even happen. So we're going to have to wait, and we're going to have to wait and see on what happens with these
And
particular storms.
each guy in the packet might change each time.
Exactly, JD. That we may continue to get changes. Don't worry, because in an hour we're getting ready to get the new advisory on all of
Is
those
it
storms.
5 o'clock one or 4 o'clock one?
5 o'clock
Oh,
for
good.
Eastern time. It's 5 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock our time. But they're gonna here at 4 o'clock Central time, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We get a new advisory from the Hurricane Center in Miami, which is where the National Hurricane Center is located. So we're gonna get a new advisory more on these storms. And let me pop this up. We don't only have the Atlantic to talk about. We also have Genevieve here, and she is still a strong storm, although she's dropped about Cat 4, Cat 3 strength now at 115, or she's a Cat 3 now, 115 miles an hour. So let's press this and let's see. She's still a major hurricane. Cat 3 and above is when you get concerned. Those are major
That's
hurricanes
that's bad.
here. And in between now, and I'm gonna pop up the cone in the mornings here, so we can see what we got with Genevieve. In between now and this eve, by tomorrow morning, she'll still be a major hurricane, or she'll just drop to hurricane strength. Looks like she'll go Cat 2, Cat 1 in the by 6 a.m. Friday morning, a Cat 1, and then tropical storm at 6 p.m. Friday, early morning Saturday, and then just fizzle out Sunday into Monday as a depression. So that's what we have with that. But Baja is under what is this? A hurricane warning, and then you got a tropical storm watch. Then you got a tropical storm warning. So hurricane warning, tropical storm warning, and a tropical storm watch for part of Baja. And it's going to be
Yeah,
mainly.
these people need to know.
It's only going to be for wind
These,
though. Look at this. This is the reasonable. Realize they call this earliest reasonable because not even the Hurricane Center can tell you what exact time the winds will come. Right now, Baja here in about well, it's not even 2 o'clock their time yet. Here in about a few minutes, the winds will start impacting immediate Baja, and then 8 p.m. tonight or 8 p.m. Baja's time, it'll be impacting them. 2 a.m. Baja time, it'll come their way again, and then it'll continue to go off the ocean. Now, the thing is by the time Friday hits, there won't be any more tropical storm force winds because it'll become a depression, begin to weaken itself and become a depression as we do go. But the winds could extend anywhere from 100 to maybe as far as 200 out from the center, depending upon how
but
big the system is,
yep,
JD.
everybody
And
needs to. Everybody needs to down there what they live at needs to have a way to have the seed warnings in case you would go under a severe thunderstorm warning for winds, or you could actually, especially if you're going to have a high high risk of power outages. You think so, Jonathan?
it's a possibility, and the winds will knock it out. Now, look, I'm going to point this out. This purple is 100% chance of seeing tropical storm winds. The
Yeah,
red is the darker red is a 90%, the lighter red 80%, the orange
Yeah.
70%, the brown 60%, the yellow,
Yeah.
the darker yellow 50%, the lighter yellow 40%, 30% in that little lime green, and more of a cobalt green. That's a 20% chance of seeing some very high winds. And this is within a 3 hour issuance. And you can see Baja has at least a 5, 10 to 20, parts of Baja 30% chance of seeing tropical storm winds within through the next 5 days here. So it's gonna be something that we're gonna continue to watch. Now, what about the
Yeah.
hurricane probability here? Let me show you. That was just tropical storm. 50 knot winds are tropical storm force winds. This is hurricane force. So closer to the eye wall, there's 100% chance. But look, it's
Wow.
only a 5% chance here through Baja. So it makes you wonder, why is there a hurricane warning for the southern tip of Baja? Hey, well, you still got to take your precautions because this is still something that is still
Yeah.
developing as well, just like our Atlantic, Isaac.
Yeah, and I will point out that again, or hold on, I'm gonna screen share again. Or I'm gonna pull up that information about Genevieve again. Show you guys, put this in a little bit better perspective on where the best impacts are slated. So generally, what tends to happen um, in these storm systems is you see on the left side, that is where you're seeing more of the upscale growth. You know, that's the side that's over water. We're seeing the more spiraling downdraft near the center. Obviously, it's still loading, but you see the more stormy activity is going to be pushing through Baja California nonetheless, and a lot of that is training over that same area. So obviously you would normally find with any of these systems, and just combining what I'm seeing or like making these inferences, obviously there could be some flooding that could be an issue. Obviously some weaker structures, especially those along the coast and where the sustained tropical storm and some areas hurricane force winds expected near the coast. I mean, they could see some, obviously there will be some widespread tree damage in this area.
Yeah,
And
and I won't roll out people trying to go out there and get into the ocean. That's another situation too. That could make some problems, couldn't it?
well, I mean, you're going to want to avoid the beach either way. And obviously,
Right.
Not sir.
and we're going to want to pay a little bit closer attention to how the track goes. I mean, obviously, if this track's closer to the land, I mean, it could spell more trouble for the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula, and it could lead to more widespread damage along the coast. So we're going to have to pay attention to that. It looks as if the way it's looking now, it looks like the eye may be a little bit closer to the actual peninsula. We can't rule out like a specific like eye making landfall, like will go onto the coast or anything like that. It'll likely trail the coast nonetheless and lead to hurricane damage nonetheless with that. And it is likely that with how far the tropical storm and hurricane force winds extend outward from the center, obviously some areas near the coast may see category 1, some category 2, who knows, maybe even category 3 damage, and that's with
That's
sustained
bad.
wind. Well, I mean, uh, there's a range in what could happen. Obviously, mobile homes are dangerous in any hurricane where there's sustained
Oh,
winds over 70.
yeah. So another
And
thing
Right.
I was going to say there, buddy. If you have a mobile home, I mean, you don't have to think about back away right now, but the end of the week, just kind of have a plan and know where to go at. Go to a family's house or a friend's house until this storm passes. We don't want anybody trapped in a mobile home because, goodness, these winds could turn them over, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're gonna keep a close eye on Genevieve, but I mean, we don't have too many people following us directly from Baja California. Um,
Right.
so
So
we're
that's why
gonna.
so many of us are concerned about the Atlantic because a lot of a lot of people who look on here, most of our viewers, anywhere from all across the media group, everybody's mostly in the U.S. So in parts of Canada. So most people want to know what's going on in the Americas, what's going to happen toward the U.S. and Canada with these three storms. There again, we can't rule out what's going to go on with any of these storms. We do have this one, which is 97 AL, is going to make itself toward into the Gulf possibly as we go here and has a good chance of developing into 12 to 24 hours, 60%. But the one we need to be concerned about, 98L, has a chance of formation within 12 to 24 to 48 hours of a 90% chance, which is quite high. And if that gets up to 100% in the next advisory, I won't be surprised if it does here
Yeah,
with the
me
next
too.
advisory because
It's
it'll be
100% bad.
it's a quite because look, it's over the water. It's over the water. All of this water is warm, high pressure. There's Bermuda. That little dot. You see this little dot? There's Bermuda.
Yeah.
There's a what we call a Bermuda high sitting in the middle of the Atlantic. So what is going to happen? That's why all these storms are developing on the southern part of this high. Now
Because they
they
love that
could try
water.
exactly. They could try to turn up along the East Coast, but the way the high pressure is centered, it's going to steer it off the coast instead of just riding along the East Coast since that high pressure is so strong. But the thing is, we also have a cold front here going to pop up
We
the
don't have no
satellite.
shear, right? No wind
Um,
shear.
oh no, there's no shear down here on the southern part of the high pressure. So our these are going to have an easier chance of developing. Well, there is shear. There's wind shear everywhere, but the shear is not. It's not. It's not very high to where these things can't develop. Um, so there's a very low. There's not much shear. Um, you can see the high pressure is like right here, so you can see what's going on with the high. All the storms are around it.
Uh,
All the storms are
I tell
around it.
you what,
But in here, it's clear. And then you got these three areas. I'm not going to worry about number three, disturbance three yet, which is
well,
99W. And the W
hmm
means watch. The L on 97 and 98 means likely to develop. So 97 likely, meaning they're keeping
I
their eye
will.
on it. And
I
98
will roll
99.
out. I won't be surprised if we'll have a number 4.
It's a possibility depending upon what goes on off the Africa coast. Usually, the United where most of the stuff develops in August, and as we go through August, it's right here in this area, and they track their way into the Gulf. That's what usually happens in August, and that's according to climatology data with the Hurricane Center.
I think
So
October is going to
really,
be bad.
this is what usually develops in August. We get a train of stuff, whatever comes off the African coast. Now the thing is, you get thunderstorms, you get the dust, the Saharan dust coming off the Sahara Desert, and that's where most of these storms come from, off of the Sahara. And there's not much dust this year. We had the thickest dust plume in June into July, but that dust is not helping.
Yeah, I will. While we wait here, I'm going to provide a little bit more clarity on like how the overall patterns have been working with that. Obviously, the conditions coming off of the Atlantic into the Sahara, there's not too much stuff in the way. There's plenty of clearance for this stuff to develop, and as we do get high pressure further up top and whatnot, that'll kind of, and I mean, that'll, winds go from low to high. And, as we do get something forming further aloft, I mean, with the warm ocean waters and high pressure and whatnot, and if we do get plenty of shear, I mean, that's strong enough. I mean, that's likely to lead to circulations and tropical systems. And if the pressure rises enough, I mean, that's what leads to our hurricanes and tropical systems. And I mean, with the waves we're seeing coming off, like wave by wave, I mean, there could be training waves. I mean, that's what happens a whole lot of the time, when we get these tropical waves that form off, and we have enough time where the temperatures rise at the seas for long enough, that will lead to higher development probabilities. I will mention that. Excuse me there. And we can see the activity spiraling off, or all that convection across the East Coast as well. I mean, obviously that would impact, that may impact the track of 97L. And then you can see 98L. That's, we're getting better shear and organization with that system. And yeah, that'll push across the East Coast as well. And obviously with the developments we have gotten over the past couple of days, and I am going to pull up the track guidance once again. We can see that this is more spread out. This kind of is in a similar westward motion that persists for long enough. So I mean, 98L we're a little bit more confident about. We just got to see how 97L comes together. And obviously some models, it's continuing to be spread out, and the northward curve that may occur with this, I mean, it will most likely vary at the 48-hour mark when that system across that trough kind of bends down, and that will likely affect when that does happen, and when and if it does track towards one area, and depends on how soon it happens, it may affect the track towards another area. So I mean, impacts will be likely dependent on that, and the rate of development and whatnot. And yeah, the intensity guidance, I'm going to pull up the 97L intensity guidance, because again, this continues to see a good likelihood of developing. The rate of development puts us at tropical storm status, maybe even this could be, if depending on how this rate pans out, it's more steady with a lot of these, but it continues to rapidly increase from 12 to 48. And if it rapidly increases a bit further, we may have that. We still may have that shot at becoming a hurricane here, but it is not likely immediately yet. So we're going to have to keep an eye on 97L, and obviously 98L. The rate of intensification brings us to close enough to hurricane status. But again, this is 3 days plus before any major new developments would come about. Like we're more at a steadier rate of increase with this. So I mean, it could be any time that we see tropical development with this, and it'll probably become a tropical storm within a matter of 12, maybe a little bit sooner than 24 hours. Yeah, we have that shot at becoming a low-end hurricane at this point, and some models take it a bit further in. And obviously, I'm not going by one of them. We can see the clear consensus down around here, the steady rate of increase of gusts that will likely bring us into high-end tropical storm, possibly maybe low-end hurricane force. But again, this is just a possibility, not like what we're saying is going to happen. And again, this is the intensity guidance, just given a whole bunch of different model outputs. Everyone works different. It puts together a whole bunch of more calculations, and you can input so many observations and projections into one, and it still could bring something out, and we still couldn't guarantee. This is a prediction. We are not fortune tellers. We are forecasters. There's a difference between how that stuff will work out. Just keeping that in mind. If Jonathan doesn't return, I guess we have covered mostly what we need to cover for today. No major new developments for the United States, and we will consider feed at that point. But I am going to be headed out here in a minute, so I appreciate everyone joining us. Please be safe and stay tuned for later developments. This concludes our Tracking the Tropics for August 19th, 2020.